Good day to everyone. So for this video lecture on 161, I will continue discussing the herd management of the dairy cattle. So last video lecture, I've talked about the herd management that you need to do for the calves, for the young cattle, for the um, mga bagong panganak na mga dairy cattle natin. So for today, let's continue on discussing. So um, first, let's discuss about the management of growing herd. So um, the first thing that you need to do when the heifers and the bulls are at 6 months of age is you separate them with each other. Ginagawa ito para ma-avoid natin yung premature breeding, especially among itong mga young animals natin. Kasi during this time, during 6 months of age, although they are not fully matured, they are not fully sexually matured, um, there is a tendency pa rin na may premature breeding na magaganap. So, it is best that you separate yung heifers at saka bulls mo at 6 months of age. And then, the grouping of growers should be according to uniformity of sizes and similarity in ages. So, this will, yung pag-group mo according to the sizes, yung magkakapareho na size, and then yung they have similar ages, yung magkakalapit yung mga ages nila, yung pag-group ng ganito, it will prevent yung bullying doon sa herd since all of them are of the same size. So, yung tendency kasi if merong isa or dalawa na mas maliit kaysa doon sa the rest of the herd, yung gagawin ngayon ng mga mas malalaking mga cattle, yung tendency is ibubuli aawayin nila yung mas maliit. Bullying in a sense na uh, mas um, mas mauna silang kakain. Like for example, mas mauna silang kakain kaysa dun sa mga maliliit. And then, yung inaaway-away nila, hine-headbutt nila, pinupush nila, so ganun. So, mas mabuti na you group yung mga growers mo according to the sizes and according to their ages. Then, if clean pasture is available, grow them in the pasture. So, kung maganda daw yung pasture mo, high quality, and when we say clean pasture, um, walang prevalence ng mga parasites like liver fluke doon sa pasture mo, then you can grow them on the pasture mismo. So if you grow them on the pasture, you should provide adequate shade at saka shelter para maprotektaran yung animal from extreme weather conditions. Then for the management of breeding heifers naman, um, once yung heifer are nasa 18 to 20 months old with a minimum weight of 250 kg, they should be bred. So yun, ayun yung parang mga requirement in order to bred yung heifers natin. Dapat nasa 18 to 20 months old sila and then may minimum weight sila na 250 kilograms. And then, in managing yung breeding heifers mo, you should uh, diagnose yung you should conduct pregnancy diagnosis every now and then. So, kailangan na um, ikakandak mo yun para malaman mo kung sino yung buntis at sino yung hindi. Para ma-separate mo yung pregnant from that of the non-pregnant heifers. Then, animals should be weighed every month to check normal growth. So, ginagawa ito para matignan natin if the heifer is gaining weight nga ba, kung normal nga ba yung growth rate niya. Baka naman pag winay mo for this month, tapos winay mo noong for the following month, bumaba yung weight niya. So, meaning, merong mali or uh, merong mali doon sa management system mo, baka merong mali doon sa management system mo, or baka merong sakit yung breeding heifers mo. So, mas mainam na i-check mo yung normal weight or yung weight niya every month para malaman mo if it's gaining weight or if it's losing weight. Then, you allow yung springing heifers to run with the milk cows for a month or so before calving so as to get them used to the routinary milking activity. So sinasabi daw, yung springing heifer, ito yung mga yung mga cows that are yung malapit ng manganak, yung they are nearing calving na tinatawag. Ito yung mga springing heifers. Yung mga pregnant na heifers that are close to calving or close sa panganganak. So yung ginagawa, um, parang tinitipon nila. They allow yung mga springing heifers to go with the milking cows para masanay yung mga springing heifers doon sa routine ng mga milking cows. Kung like for example, yung mga milking cows bumabangon ng ganitong time para pumunta doon sa shed para doon sila mamimilk. So kung merong silang kasamang springing heifer, yung springing heifer na yon, by the time na magiging milking cow na siya, nasanay na siya doon sa routine ng mga milking cows. So meaning, hindi na siya masyadong mabibigla doon sa routine nila. Hindi na siya masyadong mai-stress kasi noong hindi pa siya nanganganak, noong hindi pa siya nagpo-produce ng milk, alam niya na yung routine na yun. So, you should allow springing heifers to run with the milk cows for at least a month or so. Then, during sa management naman uh, ng pregnant herd, during early pregnancy, the animal can be managed together with the heifer herd. So, um, yung mga earliest sign or earliest time ng pregnancy, mga 1 to 2 months na pregnant na yung cow or yung heifer, maaring na maaari pa rin na nasa heifer herd sila. So, during the early stages. Pero in the last 2 months of pregnancy, the animals may be separated from the heifer herd and mixed with the dry herd. So, during yung last 2 months daw, pwede mo nang i-separate yung mga pregnant na mga heifers mo from the or yung mga pregnant na cows mo from the heifer herd into the dry herd. And the animals that are pregnant should be given more care and attention and better nutrition. Since nga pregnant sila, may dinadala silang calf doon um, sa body nila. So, bale parang dalawa yung nutrition na kailangan mong i-meet doon sa body ng pregnant na cow. So, kailangan care and attention should be given para walang complication na magaganap. And there should be better nutrition. So, there is a specific nutrient requirement for a pregnant na cow. So, um, dapat ma-meet yung nutrient requirement for a pregnant cow. Then, they should be allowed to graze in clean pasture and free from hazard. So, just like any other mga herd, um, kailangan, since you need better nutrition, hindi lang naman makukuha yan doon sa concentrate and other supplements. So, kailangan pa rin na nagre-graze yung pregnant herd, yung pregnant cow, and dapat free from hazard. So, dapat wala siyang mai-ingest na foreign materials. Dapat wala siyang mai-ingest na mga parasites. So, dapat free from hazards. Then, avoid stress factor. During pregnancy kasi maselan yung cow. So, if the pregnant cow, experience stress, ang tendency niyan is baka ma-abort pa. Maybe it can lead to abortion. So, dapat we need to minimize or we need to avoid yung stress. So, when we say stress, do not make yung mga pregnant animals walk long distances kasi mapapagod yan. Or do not make yung mga pregnant animals run fast and fight with other animals kasi that is also a form of stress. And then most importantly, do not frighten them. Huwag mong bibiglain yung mga galaw mo, huwag mong tatakutin yung mga pregnant herd since that is a form of stress. Then, 1 week before calving, house pregnant animals separately. So, before 1 week before na manganak siya, dapat nakaseparate na siya from the herd. Kasi, during that time, it is the most parang dapat talaga naiiwasan na during that time yung mga stress kasi malapit nang manganak yung cow. So, during that time, it is more sensitive. Um, baka mas susceptible pa siya sa mga stress. So, kung may stress man dyan, baka ma-lead pa to abortion. So, kailangan na nakaseparate na siya. Kung nakaseparate na siya kasi from the herd, nami-minimize yung stress and at the same time, namomonitor mo yung pregnant animal. Then, prepare the calving area by providing clean and dry bedding materials such as rice straw and rice hull. And then, keep around the clock observation for signs of calving. So, dapat yung pregnancy area or yung calving area, dapat malinis. So, dapat free from debris, free from bacteria, since this may cause complication, this may cause infection to the um, pregnant cow during calving. So dapat malinis yung ang yung calving area, and then you can provide yung rice straw or rice hull as bedding materials to make the uh, pregnant cow comfortable during calving, as well as para na rin doon sa lalabas na calf yung rice straw and rice hull. Then all in all, dapat you observe yung pregnant cow if for signs of calving. So, dapat nakikita mo, tinitignan mo palagi around the clock na baka manganak na yung cow, yung pregnant cow mo. So, yung mga usual signs of calving, you have reduced appetite kung pregnant na yung cow mo. And then, expected date of calving, today or tomorrow, yung expected date ng calving. And then, nakita mo na na-reduce na yung appetite or hindi kumakain yung pregnant cow, then most probably, malapit na siyang manganak. Then, distant udder na tinatawag, or yung um, parang mas malaki to the normal udder, yung yung size ng udder niya, distended, or parang lumubo yung udder niya, then that is a sign also of calving. And then, you also have yung swelling and congestion of the vulva. Yung swelling and congestion of the vulva, it is actually caused by the estrogen hormone. Kaya nagsuswell at nagre-redden yung mga vulva. Then, there is also mucus discharge from the genital. And then there's also frequent urination, and then restlessness and manifestation of labor. Kung hindi mapakali, and then yung parang pwesto na yung pregnant cow para manganak, then those are the usual signs of calving. So, after calving, the cow na um, it is considered as milking cow kasi magpro-produce na yan ng milk to accommodate yung calf na ipinanganak niya. So, in the management of milking herd, yung milking animals, sa pagmamanage ng mga milking animals involves such factors as training the milking animal. So when we say training the milking animal, i-train mo para masanay dun sa paghawak mo doon sa udder. Kasi most probably, hindi natural for a pregnant cow to be touched on the udder by yung human hands. Lalong-lalo na if you milk it, yung pinupush and pull mo yung udder niya, so hindi yun natural. Magiging uncomfortable yung pregnant cow. So, one thing that you need to do in managing yung milking herd is you train them sanayin mo doon sa paghawak doon sa udder. Then, there should be kindness and care kasi milking herd to. So, and we're talking about dairy animals, dairy production. So, yung aim natin is to produce milk. So, there should be kindness and care para maganda yung productivity ng pregnant cow, yung milking cow natin. And then, efficient yung pagproduce niya ng milk. Then, there should be regularity of feeding as well as milking activities. So there are tips that is recommended by the USTP card in managing a milking herd. So first, proper feeding and nutrition is a must for maximum milk production. So yun yung kailangan kasi in producing milk kailangan mo ng mas mataas na protein. So dapat maganda or proper yung binibigay mo na feed sa animal. So, dapat it will meet the nutrient requirement that is needed by a milking cow. So, good quality forages should be fed as much as possible. So, kailangan pa rin ng forages in order to meet yung nutrient requirement ng milking animal. So, forages such as Napier, and then supplement it with centrosema na forages. Then, if you think hindi pa yun enough to meet the nutrient requirement of a milking cow, then you can supplement it with concentrates such as rice bran, mga ganun. So, another one is keep the cows clean. Dapat malinis pa rin yung animal in order to prevent any infection, any bacterial infection. So, you can brush off. Pwede mong i-brush yung mga dirt at saka pwede mong i-clip yung long hair from the udder, hind legs, and rear flanks. So, specifically doon sa udder, dapat malinis yung udder kasi doon nanggagaling, doon lumalabas yung milk. So, if it is dirty, then maaari na makokontaminate yung i-harvest mong milk. So, as much as possible, the udder should be cleaned as well as the surrounding areas around the udder. So, dapat clean yan from dirt, clean yan from hairs. So, yun. Then, when we're talking about keeping the cows clean, dapat the hooves should be trimmed when there are too long or uneven kasi this may cause stress to the animal kung meron pa rin meron pa rin siyang mafe-feel na parang hindi masyadong comfortable sa kanya if it is too long or uneven at baka hindi siya makalakad ng maayos. Then for temperate breeds, so when we say temperate breeds, these are breeds that comes from yung mga colder regions of the world. So yun yung temperate breeds. So lalong-lalo na if in-import mo, let's just say, theoretically, in-import mo yung temperate breeds dito sa tropical na country like the Philippines. So, yung gagawin mo, call the animals by sprinkling or splashing them with water during the hot hours of the day. So, yun yung pwedeng gawin para ma-minimize yung heat stress, ma-minimize yung, ma-reduce yung body temperature ng mga milking cows natin. So, yun yung pwedeng gawin. Kasi, yung temperate breed, syempre, sanay yan sa colder temperature, yung cold temperature. So, pag pinasok mo or pag inimport mo dito sa Pilipinas na masyadong mainit, yung tendency it will experience heat stress na tinatawag. Now, itong heat stress na to, hindi natin gusto, lalong-lalo na sa milk production kasi yung tendency is yung milking cow, it will reduce its feed intake para ma-reduce niya yung na-produce niya na heat doon sa body niya para hindi siya masyadong mainitan. Pag na-reduce yung feed intake, then hindi na ma-meet nung milking cow yung requirement niya, yung nutrient requirement niya, meaning hindi bababa yung milk production mo. So, yun. So, always keep in mind to yung temperature, yung body temperature ng milking cow as well as yung environmental temperature around yung milking cow. Then, you should provide a clean and well-bedded and cool resting shed. So, yun nga. So, para hindi siya masyadong mainitan, provide a clean, well-bedded, and cool resting shed. And then, you could use rice hull or rice straw for bedding. Then, you need to provide clean and drinking water pa rin. Kasi your own parang the cow is producing milk, so it needs a lot of water, a lot of clean and a lot of clean water para makapag-produce siya ng milk. Then, if the cow is pastured, the animal should not be allowed too far to avoid too much exercise. So, kung pinapasture mo, inaalaw mo na mag-graze sa pasture area yung milking cow mo, then it should not be allowed to go too far para ma-avoid yung too much exercise. At kasi yung nangyayari yan, yung mga energy na dapat ay inilalaan ng milking cow sa pag-produce ng milk, yung tendency niyan is pupunta lahat doon sa energy to sa paglalakad. So, hanggat maaari, dapat hindi masyadong far, hindi masyadong malayo yung pagpapastoran mo para to avoid too much exercise. And then, do not frighten the animals, especially during the milking process. So, yun. Baka, kasi, yung gagawin ngayon is parang sasabihin na nung milking cow, pag tinakot mo during yung milking process, baka yung tendency is, ayaw na nung milking cow na magpapagatas ulit for next time. Kasi, na-associate na niya na pag nagmi-milk ka, may milking process na nagaganap, matatakot yung milking cow. So, yun yung tendency. Baka ayaw na niya. Then, with that, dapat observe silence during milking. You should not frighten the milking cow. You should avoid any stresses. Avoid any parang circumstances that may render yung milking cow uncomfortable during milking process. Kasi the milking cow will associate these stresses with the milking process mismo. So, ayaw nating mangyari yun. Then, milk the cows regularly, once, twice, or thrice daily depending on the milk production and availability of the market. So, yun. Dapat regularly, meaning pwedeng once per day, twice per day, or thrice per day. So, sa management naman ng mga dry cows na sinasabi, kasi hindi naman unlimited na magpo-produce na lang ng magpo-produce ng milk yung milking cow natin. Merong time yun na hindi na siya bababa na or mare-reduce na yung milk production, and then it will come in such a time na hindi na talaga magpo-produce ng milk. So, may tinatawag na dry off na tinatawag. Yung pag-dry off ng milking cow, 60 days before yung expected date of calving by milking once a day, then once every other day until finally ceasing the collection. So, yun yung ginagawa. 60 days before yung expected date ng calving, nagpe-perform na ng dry off na tinatawag. So, yung dry off na tinatawag, nire-reduce mo yung frequency ng milking process doon sa milking cow mo. Another way to dry off a cow is to stop milking abruptly by drastically reducing or removing the amount of concentrate. So, yon yung isang way para mag-dry off yung cow from producing milk. So, pwedeng i-reduce mo yung pagbibigay mo ng concentrate. Biglaan mo siyang wag bigyan ng concentrate or biglaan mo siyang mare-reduce yung pagbibigay mo ng concentrate. So, yun. So, if the animal is infected with mastitis, practice drying by the intermittent method. Then, you can apply broad-spectrum antibiotic infusion in all of the teats. So, this is to treat yung mastitis na tinatawag. Yung mastitis, um, yung affected area is yung udder. So, yung tendency, hindi ayaw nung cow na mag-ano ng milking, ng milk. Kasi masakit yon yung itong mastitis na tinatawag. Then, si on the management of breeding sow naman, since the sow contribute 50% to the genetic makeup of the offspring, it should be managed well. Kasi kailangan pa rin ng breeding sire para makapag-produce ng mga milking cow. So, one thing that you need to do, you manage yung breeding sire, you teach the bull to lead when 6 to 8 months old. So, leading meaning meron siyang parang nose ring. So, the bull at 6 months should have nose ring to make handling easier dun sa paglilid mo sa kanya. So, the ring should be lightweight, non-rusting material of about 4 centimeter in diameter. And then, when the bull is nasa 10 to 12 months old, you can replace the ring with a 7.5 centimeter na brass ring. Um, you can house the bull in separate shed but allow daily exercise in an open yard. So, kailangan na nakaseparate yung bull natin, nakaseparate with that of the mga heifers, mga cows natin in order to prevent any unsolicited breeding. Kasi that is hindi naaayon dun sa breeding plan mo. Baka naman bigla-biglaan may nabubuntis na lang sa plano mo hindi pa dapat na mabubuntis yung cow na yon. So kailangan nakaseparate yung bull para ma-prevent natin itong unsolicited na mga breeding. Then you can allow him to roam roam yung area para may exercise naman pa rin yung bull. Para mas healthy, mas vigor pa rin, mas active pa rin yung bull. Then, in large commercial operation, bulls are grouped into three categories. So, yun. Doon sa mga large farms in other countries, doon sa mga talagang may dairy operation, may tatlong group ng bull that serves different purposes. So, first is breeding bulls. That is mainly for semen collection. So, yun yung isang group. Yung breeding bull na yun, ang ginagawa lang is for semen collection. Yun lang yung purpose niya. Then second is breeding bulls for servicing the breeding heifers. So, yun yung isang pangalawang group. Breeding bulls na para i-service yung mga breeding heifers. And then yung pangatlo is yearling bulls na tinatawag, which ranges from 12 to 20 months old. Uh, that will serve as a replacement stock doon sa farm mo. So yun yung isa. Yun yung pangatlo na na group ng bulls doon sa dairy operation ng mga large farms. Then with that, dumako naman tayo doon sa mga waste disposal na tinatawag or waste management na tinatawag. So yung pagdi-dispose mo ng manure should be designed para ma-minimize yung odor, ma-prevent yung proliferation or pag-multiply ng flies, at saka yung ma-prevent yung pag-proliferation ng mga pests. And then, the manure disposal should be designed in a way para ma-prevent natin yung seepage, especially in water sources, para hindi ma-contaminate yung mga water sources natin. So, yung waste management practice natin, it should also conform with the existing laws and ordinances governing pollution. Dapat naaayon pa rin doon sa laws na inaano ng mga government natin, ng particularly ng mga DENR, mga ganun sabat. So dapat yung waste management practice natin naaayon doon. Wala tayong nilalabag na batas. Yung waste management, it is important kasi because the manure pwedeng maging source ng organic fertilizer and possibly energy through yung tinatawag nating biogas. So, the methods for manure handling, the shed or barn should have good drainage canal. So, dapat um, maganda yung kanal um, na parang i-build mo on the farm, on your barn, in such a way na dapat walang mga parang wala dapat parang naka-block doon sa kanal, and the flooring should be inclined to facilitate flushing during cleaning. So when we say inclined, hindi siya flat, dapat parang may slope siya para pag nag-clean ka using water, mawawash out ngayon yung yung mga manure from the area of higher elevation into lower elevation. So, kailangan inclined yung may slope yung flooring mo. Then, if the bedding material is filled with manure and urine, hole and spread it in a field. So, yun. May parang, nakalimutan ko lang yung term for that, pero yun yung ginagawa for big farms, lalong-lalo na doon sa mga bedding materials nila um, that are mixed with urine and manure. Ginagawa nila is nilalagay nila doon sa field, and this will act as a fertilizer na rin. So, where pasture is near, drainage is near, pag yung drainage mo is nasa malapit doon sa pasture, yung drainage canal should go to the pasture. If not, manure should be periodically spread in the pasture, hindi doon sa bodies of water. So if manure must be stored, yung storage area should be far from water sources to avoid contamination. So kailangan malayo doon sa pinagkukunan mo ng water for your cows. Kasi if contamination occurs, yung mangyayari ngayon, bacteria will occur, bacteria will proliferate. Pag na-ingest yan, nakuha yan ng animal, this may lead to diseases. Then, locate milking parlors or milk house away from the cattle shed. So, this is also to avoid yung contamination, since yung ginagawa in milking parlors or milking house is doon mo hina-harvest yung milk. So, kung malapit doon yung drainage canal mo, kung malapit doon yung waste management mo, yung mga manure, then yung tendency is baka makontaminate pa yung milk na kukunin mo, na iha-harvest mo. Then, with that, we can use herd record na tinatawag. So, yung herd record, hindi lang ito for dairy production, hindi lang, pwede rin ito sa beef production, pwede rin sa goat production, sa sheep production. Yung importance ng yung herd record kasi, it should be included in our management practices because it is an important aspect of production. So, doon sa herd record mo, nandoon yung production performance ng animal, pwede rin yung potential ng animal at saka yung ancestry ng animal. Makikita mo doon lahat. Then, the record help one makes daily decision on the amount of feed to give, breeding schedule, time to dry the animal, at saka yung culling na tinatawag. So, kasi sa record, naka-record lahat doon. Yung age ng animal, kung kailan siya manganganak, kung kailan siya kung kailan magiging grower, kung kailan magiging kung kailan sexually matured na. So, nakalista lahat doon yung age, kung ilan yung kinakain. So, doon mo makikita, doon ka magbe-base kung anong management practices yung gagawin mo for that. So, an efficient and functional record must be simple so that it can be easily understood. So, hindi dapat yung complicated masyado na, ito, ganito yung gawin mo. Ganito yung ire-record mo. Tapos dapat meron kang column for this, meron kang column for that. So kung ganun ka-complicated, baka hindi na maintindihan mismo nung nagre-record. So, kailangan yung record mo, it must be simple para um, titignan mo lang is malalaman mo na kung ano yung record for that. So, another one is yung record mo dapat, yung mga entries, yung mga nilalagay mo doon should be always factual and updated. So, dapat totoo yung nire-record mo doon. Kasi doon ka kukuha ng mga idea, doon ka magbe-base ng management practices mo doon sa record. So, kailangan factual, totoo, at saka updated. So, you need to update pa rin yung record mo. Pwedeng once a month, ganun. Then, the following herd records should be kept in the farm. So, ito yung mga dapat na nandun sa farm. So, first is yung milk production record mo. Since we're talking about dairy cattle, kailangan may production ka ng milk. May record ka ng milk production kasi this will enable you to determine kung ano yung milking cow na mataas yung milk production. You will also determine yung milking cow na mababa yung production that is subjected for culling. And then another one is breeding record para maiwasan. If ayaw mo yung inbreeding, then dapat may record ka for breeding para alam mo kung sino yung nanay, alam mo yung kung sino yung tatay. Then, you also have to have yung general performance and herd health records mo. Then, cattle inventory records, kailangan rin yan. Baka naman, hindi mo namamalayan, may nawawala na pala ng cattle. So, kailangan may inventory ka for that. As well as feed record, as well as cost of production record. So, feed record, kailangan para malaman mo kung ilan yung pinapakain mo, malaman mo kung ilan yung gasto mo. So, here is an example of a record. So, here we have yung daily production record. So, nandoon, naka-indicate yung month, naka-indicate yung animal number, kung sino yung may-ari ng animal na yun, and then name of the milker. Then ito, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, hanggang day 30, pwede. Then production in kilogram. So, nag-milk yung animal sa umaga, na-record mo, nasa 2.5 kilogram. And then sa hapon, nasa 3 kilogram. So, yung total, yung total is 5.5 kilogram. So, ganun. Then, another one here naman is yung daily report. So, yung date, naka-indicate yung herd inventory, kung ilan yung milking, ilan yung dry, ilan yung heifers, ilan yung calf, then yung daily production, ilan yung na-produce na milk within that herd, yung concentrate fed, kung ilan yung pinakain mo for milking, for dry, mga ganun. Another one is this, monthly production and breeding record. So, cow number, kailan mo siya brinid. So, anong month mo na brinid, mga ganun. Kailan mo na-observe yung heat, kailan yung cessation ng estrus, mga ganun. Then, last is yung concentrate and rough-age consumption record. So, nandito yung herd, ano yung herd na yon, yung month, yung year, tapos number of animals, kumbaga sa herd na yon may 10 na animals, yung ilalagay mo dito yung ilan yung kilogram ng concentrate na pinakain mo. And then dito sa part na to, ilan yung silage or kilogram ng silage na pinakain mo. So, mga ganun. So, yun yung mga examples of records that you can use in the farm. So, with that ends my discussion on the herd management of the dairy cattle. So, next discussion will be the herd management on dairy goats. So, with that, I hope you can go over it, you can watch this, and if napanood nyo na, then thank you for listening.